Hey man, really appreciate the videos that you posted as responses. You've raised a lot of interesting points, got a lot of good insight on this. Look forward to perhaps some more responses in the future. Hopefully, we can both further our understanding and develop our ideas through this discussion. Now, we do have a lot of similarities, but we've got a lot of differences as well. But it's these differences that actually make a conversation interesting, or indeed worth having at all. So before I begin, I'd like to highlight some of the similarities that I think we have, so we can, so I know exactly what it is that you believe or think. Firstly, neither of us are ontological dualists, no spooky mind stuff. We're monists, one type of stuff that constitutes the universe. Okay, two, neither of us believe in the strong principle of emergence. That is, that there's no new property that is created above and beyond any of the other properties which it constitutes. So like with life, life is not different from non-life in a way that it has any new properties which could not be observed by the collection of the interaction of lesser entities. You said something interesting as well. You said, and this is something I really agree with, that consciousness is a process. Yeah, totally agree with you there. But this is why I'm a functionalist, because if consciousness is a process, then surely explaining that process would explain what consciousness is or what consciousness does. So I'd like to hear more of your opinion on that. Would explaining this, if consciousness is a process, would explaining what the process is solve the problem of consciousness? I think it would. I'd like to know your opinion. Another thing that you discussed is the ultimate nature of the universe, like solid stuff, or is it just patterns? I think obviously it's patterns. The only reason that we think it's solid stuff is because firstly that's how it appears to us. Secondly, because our tools to heuristics, our tools to theories heuristic. Well, basically, whenever we study anything in science, like we studied Newtonian physics in terms of looking at billiard balls, and then it turns out, surprise surprise, we see the universe as billiard balls. Still says that the same thing happened in the philosophy of mind. Now we're using computers to try and figure out the brain, and now we see the brain or the mind as a computer. I think the brain is a computer, but I can certainly see the criticism here. But then you go on to say the universe is made of patterns. Now, I agree that it's made of patterns, but only because we're pattern recognizing machines. I mean, when we're doing AI, we use a neural network which is very structurally similar to the brain because it can differentiate between patterns very, very easily. This makes evolutionary sense. Well, it's obviously advantageous for you to be able to spot patterns in your environment, because this world of sensory experience it's just a stream of meaninglessness if we weren't able to differentiate between different patterns of light, of sound, and somehow integrate these. So I think that's been evolutionary advantageous for us to divide the world into patterns. So that's how we see it. However, is the universe really made of patterns? There's a very interesting video by the Caruths. I don't know if you watch him. Probably imagine so. But his endgame video about like set theory. He discusses how all patterns are arbitrary and meaningless. So we see the world as patterns, but what is a pattern if it wasn't for a perception? So this is a very interesting point also to take in consideration, but I don't want to dwell on it because you raised a lot of interesting points in this video. First, one of the main things that you said was epistemic dualism. Now, I disagree with that. I think many of the thought experiments designed to show epistemic dualism fail. I mean, you've got Jackson's Mary the Colour Scientist, Chalmers Zombie, Seoul's Chinese Room, and Nagel's Bat. I think I think they all fail, to be quite honest with you. Going back to the zombie problem, because it's one I raised before. Now, Chalmers says there's nothing that you can objectively do to determine whether something's a zombie, so there's a split between your subjective and your objective knowledge here. But if there's nothing that I can do to determine whether someone else is a zombie, like I said, how can I determine that anyone is conscious at all? If that were the case, I might just give up and assume solipsism, and that's why I have a problem with it. Another problem that I have is if the zombie was able to, well, it'd have to hold some form of unconscious mental states in order to, as a working memory, as a computer would do. It'd have to have some sort of unconscious mental states in which it would make, first and second order theory of mind, so it could actually tell you about its beliefs or beliefs of beliefs. So if you asked it if it was conscious, it would tell you yes, even if it wasn't. So it really makes me question whether I'm a zombie or not. And this is why I've got a problem with most of the demonstrations that tend to show that there's epistemic dualism. I've not seen anything that really demonstrates that there is. Again, I agree with Dennett's heterophenomenological method. I can also see another way around the problem with epistemic dualism. If we just take for a fact that all we can really say about objective knowledge is that it's subjectivity that we can all agree on. We can't say anything more than that. Objectivity is merely subjectivity that we all agree on. Now, it's either things that we can all agree exist, like this beer can exists, or things or methods that we can carry out for determining whether something's objective or not. So I don't really see a conflict between epistemic objectivity and epistemic subjectivity. However, I would like to hear your views on this. I will get back to you hopefully with some of my other videos, and yeah, thanks a lot. Oh, well, also before I go, I'd like to thank the 30 or so subscribers that I've got quite recently. Thanks a lot. I hope you've enjoyed some of my videos, and I noticed some of you guys do videos as well, so hopefully I'll be having some interactions with you guys sometime soon. Anyway, thanks a lot again. Hope to hear from you soon. Take care. Bye. Oh, hey, by the way, something I forgot to include. I found a paper by Manzotti, which I think is quite a good common ground between some of the views that we hold. I don't agree with everything on the paper, but it's definitely worth checking out. It goes into consciousness as processes, and it's definitely worth your consideration. That goes to everyone else who might be watching it. Okay, yeah, again, hope to hear from you soon. Peace.